Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I am Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and we have in studio Adam Papilion. He is with H2 Manufacturing Solutions, and you're going to be my resident manufacturing guru today. We're going to talk about the state of manufacturing nationally in Colorado, and you've got a lot of organizations actually that you have been on top of and a part of in the manufacturing realm in Colorado. So I'm excited to have you. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So let's start off. You've been on the show a couple times now, I believe. Typically with Kristen Muzzy, who's with Riveting Connections. Yes. But here we've invited you back to talk a little bit more and in depth. So yeah, let's talk about you and your background and why manufacturing.
Definitely, yeah. Just excited to be back on the show, and love what you guys do here. So thanks for having me. So let's see. Where do you want me to start?
Start with college, because I don't know that everyone starts out in going into school or secondary education at all.
Totally.
And they end up exactly where they thought they would be, right?
I know, exactly. Let's see. So college, I actually started my college career at Montana State University in Bozeman.
Nice.
Grew up in Colorado, always been here. When I got out of high school, I was like, let's go see what the world has to offer. So went up to Bozeman, stayed there for 2 years. Kind of realized, wanted to be a little closer to home, and sometimes you got to leave home to realize where home is. So made me really understand where Colorado's where I want to be. So then I came back here and went to CSU in Fort Collins, studied natural resources, recreation, and tourism. Was big into rock climbing and outdoor mountaineering and skiing and snowboarding and all that stuff. So I was guiding for the outdoor program at CSU and through their rec center department. And back then it was just this little shack in the back of the building, and when I was there we actually got to design the whole rock climbing wall. It's now like a pinnacle of the campus, which was super cool. So that really made me fall in love with the outdoors, and guided for them for years. And coming into getting out of college, I really wanted to be a rock climbing guide and take people and do the teaching thing in the woods and adventure sporting and stuff. So graduated college 2011, which, as many people know, in 2011 during a recession, a lot of people weren't spending money on recreation. So jobs were really tough for me, and I just saw this long life of having like 4 or 5 jobs always in the outdoor guiding industry, and it's kind of a standard for them. So I pivoted pretty quickly. I've always been in sales, always been able to talk to people, so went and got a job with a medical device company doing trauma equipment sales. So, real hands-on. You stand in the surgeries with the doctors. You tell them what screws go where, what plates sit where, what drill bits with what screws. So pretty intense.
I have a few questions about this.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, outdoor. You can't not help but love the outdoors in Colorado. So I feel like that's a natural path that a lot of people want to get at. But I agree with you. 4 to 5 jobs all at once to make ends meet is not an ideal situation. So you have a sales background, so you get into medical device. Did you have to have any medical training to do that, to be in the surgery, in the OR, essentially, right?
Surprisingly, it's not very regulated.
Fascinating.
It's very fascinating, actually, because the doctor is basically, the captain in the room. He took a Hippocratic oath. He can do anything he wants that he feels is best for the patient. So he technically isn't regulated by the FDA, so he can do things off-label in the surgeries as he sees best for the patient, since he has made that oath to the patient. Now the FDA regulates the reps, and I can only go in there and promote things that are on label for my equipment. Now the training I got was about, it's like 2 weeks at their headquarters. I basically self-taught myself orthopedics by just reading books and going through that path. And then it's all hands-on. I mentored under somebody for 6 months. They quit. the company made a decision to give me the territory. So then in 6 months, I was on my own doing all this by myself.
Is that typical?
Not very typical for
Okay.
the industry. Usually it's about a year to year and a half that they do that. But because the person ahead of me left, they were kind of stuck with this decision, bring someone in who's got tenure, or since where I was, they, kind of put a lot of trust in me. But yeah, it is drinking through a fire hose for the first like 6 months. Very crazy.
I would imagine. Yeah.
I mean, there's people's lives on the tables, and you say, hey, it's a 3.1 millimeter drill bit instead of a 2.5. Now the screw doesn't fit. Now there's a hole there. Now they have to replace everything. And so there is a lot of things where you're like, the questions come to you, and you better be on point. Otherwise, the mess up will be in the patient, not you, So the stress was crazy.
I
And
would imagine.
not to mention that because I was in trauma, it's like the most intense one. Like, so if somebody gets in a car wreck at 3 a.m., breaks their femur, they need a femur nail, they call me to go in at 3:30 a.m. to the surgery to stand in there, bring the nails, make sure the case goes good. So you're on call 24/7.
You are on call 24/7.
Yes.
So there's no like going out on a Saturday night and being hammered at 3 a.m. when you're on call, right?
There is none of that, actually. And I had one person who would take call from me once a month, and I wasn't able to leave cell phone service either because I needed to be on call to make sure he got into the room if I wasn't there. So my life changed. My life changed so quickly from being the outdoor guide who never is in cell phone service to the guy who can't leave cell phone service. And I used to call it a prison cell with a view because I could like look at the mountains, but I could never go to them.
Yeah. Well, I'd imagine that's got to be a tough industry to be in. It's high pressure. There's a lot riding on that.
It's very high pressure. It's kind of glorified in a sense. Not to dog on the industry. When people love it, they love it. But it requires a lot of your time and commitment, and really takes away from other parts of your life. Because I kind of believe that I've only got this glass full of energy, and I can only put that so many places. So it was really draining that glass quite a bit. So that was when I made a decision to actually get out of it after 2.5 years of doing it. So it didn't even take that long.
I would have. Is the burnout rate's got to be high in
It's
that
very
industry?
high, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, even when I started, there was only 2 people that were still there after I left. So the turnover rate was crazy. A lot of people get into the trauma because it's the hardest one, and it's a good stepping stone to get into things like spine or orthopedic, knee replacements, shoulder replacements, stuff like that. But I'll tell you that it definitely teaches you a lot about work ethic. When you go from working 100 hours a week to 50 or 60, you're like, man, this feels like a part-time job.
Now you do have time for the mountains.
Yes, totally.
Well, yeah. So let's talk about that transition, because I'm sure that you got a lot of valuable soft skills from that job, at least, to carry over into manufacturing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And and some of the things that during that job really kind of drew me into manufacturing was when I'd go visit the manufacturers or our vendors of all the equipment. I'd go visit them for training purposes, site tours. That was the fascinating part, seeing wrist plates being CNC machined and seeing them the whole manufacturing facility and how that stuff operated. That's I would find myself in surgeries actually talking about how things were made more than how to actually use them. So
kind of a big difference there. Yeah.
So so that really kind of led me into to my passion for manufacturing, and I've just been really lucky on my path here in Colorado to be able to get linked up with the right people and get in the right communities. So it has grown my career in manufacturing. Because after I went through being the medical device rep, I got a job in a staffing agency, staffing engineers. And you could focus your engineering staffing in a lot of different areas. But again, my focus always ended up being in manufacturing. It was kind of a passion, and it's something easy to talk to, something easy to help candidates find places, easy for me to talk about the companies that had open jobs. So that was another real tall tale sign, like, hey, manufacturing is an awesome place to be. And And on top of that, I'm a big woodworker too. So I love manufacturing in my own garage. You know, my grandpa was a woodworker. He always taught me woodworking. And when he was getting close to passing, he came to me and said, "Hey, go get all the stuff out of my garage. Anything you want, you take it." So I've got my garage filled with his wood shop stuff, and I've been doing that ever since. And I just really like making things with my hands. So it's really cool to see the industrialized side of that too, you know, because what I do is a passion hobby, very just, you know, artistic almost.
Yeah.
Not repeatable.
Not unless you get a program set up for it, maybe, right? So I do want to talk a little bit, and we've mentioned it several times on the show. I'm sure you've heard it. But the connotation that manufacturing brings up, you know, it's old factory, dirty jobs, and a lot has changed. And I think we're finally getting a good perspective out there about what manufacturing really is. But did you realize that that's what you had a passion for, or did you have to be in it to understand that that's where you wanted to be?
Yeah, I mean, it really is interesting how you grow up thinking it is like that steel workers, like just dirty job, and then they commercialize it as dirty, almost with shows like Dirty Jobs, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, it really did take for me to, you know, actually go tour and see some facilities and see what this industry is all about, for me to be like, oh wow, this is actually a very precise, very high-end industry that people don't see as that, right? You know, I mean, some of these facilities are cleaner than hospitals, right? Because they have to be, because some of them manufacture for hospitals. So
right, they have to have the sterile equipment.
Yeah.
So let's talk about H2 Manufacturing Solutions and how you wove your way into that space.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been with H2 now for about 2 years. And I would say closer to 2.5 or 3 years ago, I met Heidi Hostetter, who's the CEO of H2, and also the VP at Faust & Tool. And anybody who knows Heidi knows that she does a lot for manufacturing in the community. She's got a big name in the state. And I met her through Women in Manufacturing. I used to be on the board of that group. And at one of our events, Heidi came to our event. We started talking. We started hitting it off. I told her about my wood shop. She told me about her machine shop. And I was like, I want to come see your machine shop, and I want to see this. And she had just gotten a 3D printer at the time, a metal one, so I wanted to come see that. So I went and visited Fausen, you know, and then we'd have lunch together. And this kind of went on for like, I'd say 3 to 6 months. And then after that, I came to Heidi and I was like, you know what, Heidi, I think I hate my job. I think I want to be more in the front line of manufacturing, not just staffing for it. And I want to be part of it. And she said, okay, well, you know, send me your stuff and let's see what I can do. And sent her, you know, we kind of just kept going back and forth. And then one day she came to me and she goes, you know what, I think I have a job for you. And at that time, H2 was very new. It was only about a year old, and H2 was really created to be the consulting side of manufacturing, because, you know, Heidi, with all of her experience and knowledge in the business and industry, everyone would come to her and ask her, hey, how do we do this, or what do you think of that? And eventually Heidi's like, I think I need to open a business because I get so many inquiries for people that need consulting help. So that's how H2 was born. And then when it kind of got to a point where she needed an employee, that's when there was a position that opened up, and luckily I was the person she chose.
Congrats on that.
Yeah,
that's
thank
awesome.
you.
And I've met Heidi a few times, and she is without a doubt probably the most accommodating person when it comes to questions about manufacturing. She's an open book and more than happy to help with people, whether it's getting a job or knowing what kind of equipment you need if you're opening up a brand new shop, things like that. She's wonderful about that.
Yeah, truly selfless and all that. She and her, you know, where she is and what she does is really, it comes from a place of just helping manufacturing, and it comes from, you know, not putting her or benefiting her in any way, and she's always willing to help people. So
yeah,
just having that energy too, and somebody that I find as a mentor, is something that is really important for me in my career progression too. You know, not having somebody who's just looking at budgets and dollars, but more looking at growing and helping people in manufacturing in the state. Because it's the community and energy like that that's gotten manufacturing to where it is today, and why Colorado's a leader in it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the aerospace industry here helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that being said, I like that you're saying it's not always about the dollars at the end of the day. It's about being able to make those connections and helping each other out, really. The collaboration in the manufacturing industry is by far the best model I've seen of collaboration.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think last time I checked, we're approaching 6,000 manufacturers in the state, and 80% of those are under 20 people.
Which is fascinating.
Super fascinating, right? Because then
Yeah.
now we've got all these small to mid-sized manufacturing companies. 80% of them are in that bucket. And obviously, we're going to need the guys like the Lockheeds and the big guys to help supplement and supply that work for the state. But in my opinion, most of it is supply chain manufacturing. We're all helping each other. We're all contracting with each other. We're all in business together because there's enough in the world to go around. And the more we can capture for just Colorado, I feel like it's a lot better. So having a good variety and good, depth in your bench of what you have available in the state has been a big focus. And I think we've done such a good job of building that community here.
I would wholeheartedly agree with you. I want to get down to the nitty-gritty of H2 manufacturing solutions and really identifying who needs this consulting. Who is your ideal customer or client? I guess I should go with client here.
Yes.
Yes.
So, our ideal customer, our tagline is making manufacturers' problems that they face day to day a little easier and a lot less frustrating to achieve the best possible outcome. And that's what we, believe that we do is we'll go in. We like to really be kind of we like long-term partners, but the best is when you don't need us. We go in, we help you, we walk you through it, we get you to a place where now you're the problem solver and you're the person who's fixing things. So to put a ideal customer on our vision there, it's hard to say because we do work with so many industries, so many different types, big, small. We work with the OtterBoxes of the world, but then we also work with the small guys that are one-person shops that need help getting, just shop layout or buying machines or anything in that aspect. We do a lot of metal 3D printing consulting because it is a new technology. And Heidi was a big pioneer in the state, bought the first M2 laser from concept here. So they've been kind of on the forefront of that technology. So when people go down that path and they say, hey, I don't know the first thing about buying a machine, or do I even need to buy a machine? Is it better for me just to contract with the amount of work I have? Those are all things that we can help walk people through. We also contract with, we're big partners with the state's MEP, Manufacturer's Edge. And they do unbelievable work over there. The things that they've helped companies achieve and grow is great. And the biggest thing that I like about them and why we're such good partners is that they are also not graded on the paycheck that they get. So they are given, they're part of the Department of Commerce under NIST, and with that, they are graded. There's one in every state, and their sole purpose is to grow and sustain manufacturing in the state. So then their customers are surveyed after a project's done, and that survey will tell how much impact they had to that company. And each MEP branch has to be in good standing to continue to grow and get federal funding. So for us to partner with them, and they're kind of regulated by a third-party survey. It says, hey, we're going to do good work or we don't continue to survive, not just, hey, we're going to do good work to get our paycheck and leave, right?
Yeah.
So having them as a partner has been super good. They really do help the state with huge problems, and And it's the whole consulting kind of paradigm there. Sometimes you need that outside person to come in to come look at things for you to actually open your eyes and see something, because you don't know what you don't know. So that's been a great partnership working with them, and they do other things besides just helping manufacturers. It's we live in a time of a lot of changing things and a lot of new innovations. So they have a lot of seminars, webinars, events that promote and educate our manufacturers as well. So yeah, that's I think that was a long answer to your question, but
but it was a great answer. And Tom Bugnitz over with Manufacturer's Edge is wonderful. I've had him on the show several times. One of my favorite people, I think, probably ever. So yes, I've had the in-depth talk about Manufacturer's Edge with Tom. And I'm glad that, again, that collaboration that the manufacturing industry has in Colorado is bar none.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's what's great about H2 being so small, too. It allows us to pivot and to accommodate and to make sure that our customers are getting what they want. We rep a number of different companies, too. Faustin being one of them. Heidi's the VP over there. We also rep temperature processing, which is the only heat treater here in Colorado, and the heat treating they do is unbelievable. The guy is a genius in metallurgy. Like, you wouldn't even believe the technology that he can run through over there. And then we rep a construction machine company that does automated wall panels. So we really do kind of cut our teeth in the manufacturing realm of supply chain, So the construction stuff is big for the state because we're growing, and labor is a hard thing to find right now. So having automated machines that help with that is huge. Heat treating in the state's big. It's a necessary step in any metal manufacturing. So to keep that stuff local is very big for us instead of outsourcing it out to other states or even out of the country. And then, the machine shop that Heidi's the VP of, Faustin, is an amazing high-precision machine shop, and it's definitely, they're able to achieve things that most machine shops can't hit, these tolerances. I mean, they're sole sourced on some parts that nobody in the world can do. So to have that behind us as well really does put this, great bench of what H2 can do.
Yes. Absolutely. We have so much to get into.
I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we have an exciting event coming up. It's Northern Colorado Manufacturing Partnership, known across the industry as NOCOM, actually. And it is one that ICOSA Media and Colorado Business Roundtable and Cap Logistics, all partners here, are a sponsor for the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Partnership. And I really want to get into some detail about that, but we unfortunately have to take a break here in a few minutes. But before we get there, where can I find more information about H2 Manufacturing? Yeah.
So H2 Manufacturing Solutions, we have a website. It's h2manufacturingsolutions.com.
Thank you.
You can email me at adam@h2manufacuringsolutions.com. I know they're kind of long emails, but I guess the world's getting busy on the internet, so
yes,
all the good names are taken.
Exactly. Even just using an acronym is hard enough.
It is,
anymore. But yes, h2manufacturingsolutions.com. So be sure to visit that while you're on a break. And also visit cobrt.com/radio-podcast. Type in manufacturing. You can find all of our past shows talking about that. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here at cobrt.com/live. We will be right back with Adam Papilion, and we're going to talk about the NOCOM, the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Partnership event that's coming up April 11th. So stay with us here on Connect and Collaborate. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Connect and Collaborate. Once again, I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and we have in studio with us Adam Papilion. He is with H2 Manufacturing Solutions, as well as the chair of the NOCOM, which is the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Partnership event. So you told me on the break how much I messed this up, but So there is a Northern Colorado partnership, which Heidi Hossetter actually is the chair of, and you are the chair of NOCOM, which is the event part of that partnership.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
All right, so walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Yes.
But NOCO is the Northern Colorado Manufacturing Partnership. They are the sector partnership for the northern sector of Colorado. And their mission is to connect manufacturers and also to grow and develop workforce. So they do that through a number of different initiatives. They offer internships and scholarships to students for STEM work basically, and they get manufacturers to partner with that offer these internships and help develop our students that are in high school and even college. And then they also run lunch and learn events. They run student networking nights, and the big one that's kind of grown to be its own thing is NOCOM. And NOCOM is the big trade show of the year. Originally, it was, kind of just under one of the events committees of NOCO. And it grew. This is our 5th year anniversary in 2019. And it has grown to be the biggest manufacturing trade show in Colorado.
Wow.
So the growth that we've seen with this is unbelievable. And it's definitely all due to the members and the kind of the platform that NOCO has put up for that. And last year we had over 1,000 attendees, 130 exhibitors, all manufacturing. And this year we're projecting to have pretty substantial growth as well. We have space for 160 exhibitors. We'll definitely see some growth in the attendance. Every year it gets bigger and gets more hype. And last year on the surveys after the show we sent out, 70% of exhibitors said that they gained business from the show.
Wow.
Which is, to me, pretty unbelievable stat because, I don't know, if you've ever done a trade shows, it's kind of a dark magic on what your success rate is because you're really making connections, not like signing deals on site, right? So for people to claim that 70% of them got business from the show is a huge success on the NOCOM standpoint, right? And every year we have a new theme. Every year we have try to bring new exciting speakers to the show. The structure of the show in the past has always been open it up with a breakfast, do a keynote speaker there. The show is open from 9 to 5, and then at 5 we have a B2B at the end.
Nice.
So it's been really fun. I've been involved with the show for 3 years, and this year I'm chairing the planning committee. So it's been quite a learning experience, but a lot of fun too. Being kind of on the front line of all these decisions and planning and budgeting and all that stuff is really cool to see the growth of the show and see where it's going. It wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for the sponsors, and I know that ICOSA and CAP and Corbett are all sponsors this year, and you guys are doing the wonderful videos that we have to show that we've been promoting at events. And if anybody ever sees the video, it was done by ICOSA, and they do awesome work over there.
They do.
And and as far as what the show does, it is the #1 revenue generator for NOCO, and all of that money goes right back into the community, and that's how we're able to provide scholarships and internships and pay for the things like the lunch and learns. So it all kind of just feeds directly back into the manufacturing community and puts on events for the manufacturers throughout the rest of the year.
That's amazing. Just a few facts about this. So the scholarships, again, are offered at Front Range Community College as well as Ames Community College. So if you've got a student or somebody that's looking to go to school, or if you want to go back to school even and go for manufacturing, by all means, those are the 2 colleges that they tend to get the scholarships through. Also, again, just to reiterate, this event is April 11th, and it's from 9 to 5. And it's the cost of really just a movie ticket. It's $15 if you pre-order, $20 if you show up last minute and walk in, and you're offering a nice discount to students. It's $10 if you're a student, which is amazing. So I think that's really affordable for an all-day event, and you get a keynote speaker and a B2B afterwards.
Yeah, so the keynote and the B2B are actually add-ons, so you do have to purchase another ticket to those.
Okay.
But as far as what the show is about, it's great. I mean, we do love to offer cheaper tickets to students because, again, one of our missions is growing and promoting workforce. And even when students show up, it's great because we have it set up where every manufacturer that's exhibiting there can have the option of showing what positions they're hiring for, which ones they have internships for, what a career path would be like at those companies. So we do have last year we had about 200 students come and walk through the show floor and look at, what companies are out there, what jobs are available out there. It's really good exposure to see what kind of career path you could have in manufacturing because honestly, there's so much you can do and so much you can grow in within even just in our state in manufacturing, So to see that, hey, that's my favorite cell phone case company and they've got jobs open right now and I could go work there and oh my gosh, they're hiring people with my skill set and every company needs every skill set still. So just because it's manufacturing doesn't mean there's not marketing and finance and everything that every normal company has too.
Exactly, which is something I think a lot of people forget. But not to put you on the spot, so to speak, but do you have any actual data on students that are receiving jobs from this event?
I actually do not have the stats on that, but it is, I'll tell you what, it's a better chance of getting a job going than not going.
Right? That is a wonderful answer. Perhaps a question on your survey next time to see if anyone's gotten that.
No, that'd be great data to have, and the partnership itself, it is good to get involved as a student or even just an interested person or manufacturer because the internships that NOCO kind of subsidize, they work with the companies that offer them and figure out ways to pay the people who are doing the internships because. I don't know anybody who likes doing free internships. They just really don't exist anymore. We don't live in that age anymore where you have to work for free anywhere.
Yeah.
Unless it's, I think my first internship was unpaid, but I was a camp counselor. So.
I don't know that I would care for that at all. Yeah, no, my first internship was unpaid as well. But I enjoyed mine. And you probably
it was
too.
like going to camp, so.
All right,
so it was
that's
easy.
Not terrible. So you guys do still have sponsorship opportunities and people can still set up booths, right?
Yes, so there is still sponsorship and booth space available. I believe our booth discount rate goes up on January 12th.
Okay.
So today, this is the last week that you can actually purchase your booth at a 15% discount.
Ooh, nice.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then after that, they go up. But still, I mean, as far as being an exhibitor at a big trade show, especially the largest trade show in Colorado, the price is so cheap. Like, honestly, I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, that's what it costs to go to some of these other ones as an attendee.
Yes.
So, and then the sponsorships, we still have a ton available. Depending on what level, the exposure you get mentioned, you get your logos everywhere, you get, you get a good presence at the show for supporting manufacturing. A lot of service providers take advantage of the sponsorships, but at the same time, manufacturers take advantage of the ones that kind of fit their wheelhouse too.
Exactly.
Like coffee sponsorship, for instance. We all know manufacturers drink a lot of coffee.
Yes.
Very, very important to have a coffee sponsor, and then everyone can see your logo every time they go get coffee, or it's on the cups, or So there is a ton of ways to get involved with the show, and if anybody out there has interest in getting more involved than just exhibiting or even attending, there is contact info on the webpage for my email, some of our other involved people's emails, and happy to get you anything you need. So
cool. And that website is NOCOMFG.com. Again, that's NOCOMFG.com.
Yes, and the show would not exist if it wasn't for the sponsors.
Yes.
and it's a huge event for our community up there. And the theme this year is connecting supply chain.
Ooh, I like that.
And it's all about bringing in manufacturers and connecting them with other manufacturers and everybody working together to keep Colorado more Colorado, so we don't have to go outside of the state to get any help with anything in manufacturing. We should be able to rely on our, people that are local. Because that's the great thing about the show. You'll be in there and you'll go, oh, I had no idea there was a metal stamping shop right down the street from me, and I've been sending my stuff to Chicago, or
Right, exactly. Yes, do keep it local. And speaking of keeping it local and how small the world of manufacturing really is here in Colorado, you've mentioned a few times, we both talked about Heidi Hosstetter and how you met her and got involved with her, and that kind of launched your career in manufacturing. So Heidi's a very busy woman, and I actually had invited her on the show originally. I want to touch on this topic of women in manufacturing, which is actually one of the organizations that you were a part of the board on with Heidi, correct?
No, so I was on the board. I was on the board of Women in Manufacturing, I think in 2000, I want to say 15 and 16. But then Heidi was a member of Women in Manufacturing, and she came to one of our events that we held at Geotech, is where I first met Heidi. And after I started working with Heidi, Women in Manufacturing is a great group. They do great events. They do great things. Their mission is unbelievable. I'm a big believer. But where I stood with the group was it's a national organization, so it was kind of hard to have impact here locally with a national overseeing, right? So when me and Heidi got together, we, both of us have a big passion for 3D printing and metals and stuff like that. So it made sense for us to pursue something to grow that within the state, right? And Nora Torre has started Women in 3D Printing, and it is an international group. And back when we had met with her, it was just in San Francisco and Paris, I believe. So after communicating with her back and forth a bunch and meeting her and really diving into what we wanted out here in Colorado, we realized that our goals align, and we have the freedom to be able to operate how we would want to in the community here and give them what we think they want. So me and Heidi started the Women in 3D Printing Colorado chapter last year in, I want to say our first event was July or August.
Was it?
I believe it was. And
that
was here.
We had it here at the Colorado Business Roundtable headquarters. We have a pretty nice event space, I like to think.
Yeah.
We do a few things out there. Time flies by.
It does, doesn't it? And that wasn't too long ago, but it feels like it was quite,
Yeah.
Since then, we've had about 4 or 5 more events, and the group is amazing. It's really fun. It's super casual. It's really just about getting people in the industry together and connecting them and talking about advances that their companies have done, or if anybody has a big win story or something, we give them the stage for a second to show them. Like last time, Elementum 3D had developed a new aluminum 6061 powder that prints, which is a huge advancement in the industry because printing aluminum is really hard. Aluminum's hard to weld, it cracks, it's unstable, and printing metal is basically like welding in layers.
Okay.
So the fact that they were able to come up with a powder that was a consistent print of aluminum was huge. So last time we gave them the stage for a little bit to talk about their powder. They brought a piece in. So it was a really cool environment just for everybody in the industry to kind of connect and share advancements and where they are and where they're going and stuff like that. And we are doing an event this month. So January 17th, we will be at the 3D print store down in Centennial. And we'll be running just a happy hour there from 3 to 5 on Thursday, January 17th, which ironically is actually the same day as the all manufacturers meeting for NOCOM. So me and Heidi, as we often do, are going to divide and conquer.
There you go.
She's going to handle the NOCO All Manufacturers meeting, and I'll be at the Women in 3D Printing meeting. Either they're both great events. The All Manufacturers meeting is a Northern Colorado. All manufacturers come together. They voice what they're seeing in the industry, what they want to see the next year for the NOCO partnership. It's also the place where you'll get to vote on the speaking themes for NOCOM in April, which is a big deal. Because then after we get the themes, we go identify speakers and kind of fill those slots. We do have some pretty big, exciting names we're trying to bring in, but they're kind of on the beginning stages of that. One of them may or may not be our new governor.
Really?
We would. It's early to say, but it would be great if he would come and speak to our community. He'd be the keynote speaker. So that one is something we're very hopeful for.
Yeah, if you wanna beg him on camera, that'd be.
Oh,
No, I'm just
Jared,
kidding.
come on!
Please join us.
Please join us, April 11th.
I love that. No, and as you said, women in 3D printing. So that's a really exciting industry, and 3D printing is relatively new concept here. So you wanted to start your own Colorado chapter, and you mentioned that you came from 3D or from women in manufacturing, and that was more of a national page. You wanted something more local so that you could contribute to that. And you have one coming up January 17th. You have quarterly meetings, correct, for all of the public, or monthly? Tell me more about that.
So we do 8 a year.
Okay.
So there will be months that we take off. Like we did take off November and December just because it's the holiday season. Everybody's got things to do. Nobody needs another event thrown at them, and so we took those 2 months off, and and we're starting out the year with some good momentum. We're going to do one in January, February, probably March too, and the real thing there is it's my belief is that people shouldn't have to make too much of an effort to be part of groups like this. So one of the big things with women in manufacturing was it's a membership fee, all these kind of these hoops to jump through and stuff like that. So having the support of women in 3D printing, it's still an international big group, but they just give a lot of control to the local ambassadors here. So we have no membership fees, everything's free. All of our events, we try our very hardest to make sure that people don't have to pay for things at them. We get sponsors to cover food and drink, because people are taking the time out of their day and their work day. And I mean, if most of these people are CEOs and directors, and that's lost money to a company if they're taking time away from their company, right? So they're already investing their time. So we want to keep things completely free for them and just have this be a mutual space where everybody can connect and collaborate. Not to steal your name, but
lots of people do in here. Yeah. That's fair. Well, I want to change gears one more time on you here. One of the things that Colorado Business Roundtable is very passionate about is workforce development.
Yes.
As is NOCO, right? That's one of the big reasons that you have your NOCOM event every year. So let's talk about the importance of STEM education and making sure that we continue to have students growing in the manufacturing field.
Yeah, definitely. We're just at such an interesting time, right? Like things are moving faster, working better, cheaper, better, faster kind of mentality. But the workforce thing it's been an issue. It will continue to be an issue, but we're finding solutions to it that I think are really good ways to work with the problem, not against it. For instance, you go into any machine shop, I guarantee that the average age of the machine shop floor is around 50 to 60. Because machinists it's a dying trade. These hard trade skills they're just dying. And I love it when people come in and say, robots are taking our job. And it's like, no, actually, this is just solving a problem that we knew about 20 years ago. We just didn't address when we knew the baby boomers would fall off the workforce, and we knew that we didn't have the workforce to replace them. And on top of that, it's the technology too. The next generation is not interested in what the the older generation is. They actually want to be operating the robots that operate the machines, So it really enables people to have those higher level jobs, So it's instead of being, oh, there's a machinist job open, I can apply for that, and that's my career path. Now it's, oh, I can go to school to learn how to operate this machine that operates 10 machines. And now my career path is enabled so much more. But the importance of bringing that up in the education to our next generation is huge. I wish somebody told me about manufacturing when I was in high school, because I would have had a different career path from the beginning, People just, I think it's just been very subject-based in schools, and it should start to focus more on industry-based education, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the advice I give to, I've got 3 step siblings, and they're younger. I say, hey, don't pick a subject, pick an industry.
And then go from there.
Once you pick an industry, then figure out your subject. Because, if you like aerospace, if you like if you like medical stuff, that's your industry, then start there, right? Mm-hmm. But it is great what the NOCO partnership's doing for this, the education they're getting out there, because ultimately that's what it is. It's you need to make available to the kids of this next generation everything that they have as options, because we don't do that right now.
Exactly. And there's so many fields, particularly since I've been in this position and interviewing industries all across Colorado, there are so many fields that I wasn't even aware of until I get somebody in the studio, let alone knowing that in high school or even, going
totally.
into college, right? Secondary education. Again, that's one thing that I'm really passionate about, is that you don't always need secondary education either. There's some jobs that are very well paying that all you need is a certificate, a 6-month, 6-week certificate sometimes, and make very good money doing it. Manufacturing's one of those industries.
Totally. It's a big industry in that. I mean, even when I used to work in the staffing agency, it was insane how a maintenance tech would be making close to somebody with 5 years experience in their finance degree, Mm-hmm. And those maintenance techs are just, really handy, really good at troubleshooting, all that stuff. So it is pretty mind-blowing that there's such amazing jobs available out there, and everybody still goes for a business management degree.
I think it's a catch-all. That is definitely a catch-all. Well, it's better than my fine arts degree, but
I can't. I mean, I'm a natural resources guy, so
right, exactly. I'm a communications.
I really do think that we'll move away from that. Nobody's using their degree to. We'll see a whole other shift in the next generation of. People are going to open their eyes and say, hey, how much was college just shoved down our throats as kids? That's the next step. But you go and you don't even know what you're there for. Right. So that's why I think a lot of our generation doesn't even use their degree. Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of finding passion and balance, that work-life balance, right? You don't want to be working 100 hours a week on call all the time.
Yes, exactly.
It's not for everyone. Adam, this has been a fascinating converation. Thank you so much for joining me in
studio. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, Heidi missed out. So
she sure did.
Thank you again. And again, lots of information to look up. Check out cobrt.com/radio-podcast. Type in manufacturing, type in Adam Papilion, type in H2 Manufacturing Solutions. NOCOM will get you all the information you need to sign up for that. Be sure to like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.